ATP Finals. Alexander Zverev v Casper Ruud. This match about to start in the next minute or two, just pre-match training for both players. Alexander Zverev in the first match of the ATP Finals won by 2 sets to love, 6-4, 6-4 v Andrei Rublev, and Casper Ruud started the ATP Finals tournament with a Casper Ruud started the ATP Finals tournament with a 6-1, 7-5 win v Carlos Alcaraz. So quite the win in the first match in this tournament for Casper Ruud, with a 2 sets to love win v Carlos Alcaraz, as well as Alexander Zverev rather winning by 2 sets to love v Andrei Rublev in the first matches of the group round of the tournament. Last match of Alexander Zverev v Casper Ruud at the French Open. Alexander Zverev winning that in 4 sets to win by 3-1. Or one of the last matches they played anyway. The winner of this match very close to the semi-finals round. Andrei Rublev more or less out of the tournament after losing 2 out of 2. After Carlos Alcaraz won by 2 sets to love v Andrei Rublev in the other match in this group today. Carlos Alcaraz with 1 win and 1 loss. Andrei Rublev with 2 losses. Alexander Zverev and Casper Ruud both with 1 win each going into this one. The last matches of the group after this, Casper Ruud playing Andrei Rublev and Alexander Zverev playing Carlos Alcaraz. So Alexander Zverev won the coin toss and picked to return serve. So the first service game of the match, Casper Ruud service game, first service game of the match. Casper Ruud with a serve sent to the box of death. Alexander Zverev returns it in forehand. Casper Ruud backhand Alexander Zverev, and then forehand to forehand of 2 shots each. And the second forehand from Alexander Zverev to the centre is just out, so 15 love. After the first point of the match on this Casper Ruud service game. Casper Ruud with a wide serve with depth. Alexander Zverev backhand return. Casper Ruud strikes a forehand to the right with a bit of depth, and Alexander Zverev's backhand return to the centre just out, so 30 love. Casper Ruud with a wide serve with depth, and Alexander Zverev with a forehand return, but hits the net a bit, so 40 love. On this Casper Ruud service game, the first service game of the match. Casper Ruud with a serve to the centre of the box, just hits the net, so second serve for Casper Ruud on this point. Casper Ruud with a serve centre the box. Alexander Zverev's backhand return to the right is just out. And Casper Ruud with that service game to love in the first game of the match. A win for Casper Ruud in this match, and Casper Ruud very close to the semi-finals at least. Casper Ruud plays Andrei Rublev in the last matches of this group. Alexander Zverev plays Carlos Alcaraz in one of the last matches in this group. Alexander Zverev will serve to the centre with depth, and Casper Ruud with a bit of backhand racket on it, but can't get the ball much further. 15-love. Serve with depth centrally from Alexander Zverev on that point. 15-love. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve just out. So second serve for Alexander Zverev on this point. Alexander Zverev with a serve centre box. Casper Ruud with a forehand return. But then Alexander Zverev strikes a forehand to the right and it's a winner. So 30-love. All right, enough return on that return serve from Casper Ruud, but Alexander Zverev just struck it to the right for a winner anyway. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve depth. Casper Ruud beforehand shot return, and Alexander Zverev further forward with a bit of a strike of a shot to the left, but just out. So 30-15. Casper Ruud with the first point on return of serve in this match, but 30-15 still on this Alexander Zverev service game. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve depth. Casper Ruud with a backhand return to the centre, then forehand Alexander Zverev. Then a bit after that, backhand to backhand of 2 shots each, and the second backhand from Alexander Zverev is struck to the right, and it's in. Some depth, but it's in. Backhand winner struck to the right by Alexander Zverev, so 40-15. Alexander Zverev with a serve to the centre, just hits the net, so second serve on this point. Alexander Zverev with a serve to the centre with depth, and Casper with a backhand return to right with depth and in. And then Alexander Zverev with backhand to backhand of 2 shots each or so, and then forehand to forehand. And Alexander Zverev strikes a second backhand to the left with depth, and Casper Ruud returns. And then further forward, just by net, Alexander Zverev with a forehand drive volley to the left, but just out. So 40-30. Alexander Zverev with a serve to the centre with depth, and Casper Ruud strikes a forehand return to the right, and it's a forehand return winner ace to the left on return of serve from Casper Ruud. Juice. Well, that is a bit of a return and a half on that point from Casper Ruud with a forehand return winner ace. Struck to left, returning off that Alexander Zverev serve. So juice. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve, and it's an ace. The first ace of the match from Alexander Zverev. So add point on this next point for Alexander Zverev after the first ace of the match with a wide serve. And Alexander Zverev with a serve to central depth, and Casper Ruud rather of a forehand block return, and 1 shot each, and then a short angle backhand struck to the left by Alexander Zverev, and it's a winner. So on serve in the first set at 1-1. Casper Ruud with a wide serve. Alexander Zverev forehand return, and then backhand to backhand. And Casper Ruud forehand to Alexander Zverev, forehand of 2 shots each. And Casper Ruud with a third forehand to the right, and then backhand to backhand slice from Casper Ruud. And then Alexander Zverev with a forehand rather to the right, just hits the net. So 15-love. Casper Ruud with a serve to the centre of depth. Alexander Zverev forehand return. Then Casper Ruud further forward with a forehand struck to the left, and Casper Ruud just by net. And Alexander Zverev with a forehand passing shot to the left, just out. So 30-love. Casper Ruud with a serve to the centre of depth. Alexander Zverev backhand block return, and then just by the net, Casper Ruud strikes a forehand to the left, and it's a winner. So 40-love. Casper Ruud with a wide serve with depth, and Alexander Zverev with a bit of backhand on it, but can't get the ball much further. So 2-1 Casper Ruud on serve in the first set. So Alexander Zverev service game on serve in the first set. Alexander Zverev with serve central depth. Casper Ruud with a backhand block return, and then further forward just by net. Alexander Zverev with a backhand drop shot to left, hits top of net and just over the net for a winner. So 15-love. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve with depth. Casper Ruud with backhand return with depth, and then forehand to forehand. And Casper Ruud's short angled forehand to the right is just out, so 30-love. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve with depth. Casper Ruud forehand block return. Alexander Zverev with a forehand backhand slice return from Casper Ruud, and Alexander Zverev strikes a forehand to the right. And Casper Ruud with a backhand slice return, and to the net. Alexander Zverev with a forehand volley to the left, and it's a winner. $40 love. Sixth winner in the match from shots for Alexander Zverev, 2 for Casper Ruud in this match at this point. Alexander Zverev with a central serve with depth. Casper Ruud with forehand block return, and then further forward, Alexander Zverev strikes a forehand to the right, and it's a winner. And on serve in the first set at 2-all. Casper Ruud with a wide serve with depth. Alexander Zverev forehand block return to the left is out, so 15 love. Casper Ruud with a serve to the centre of depth. Alexander Zverev beforehand return to the left, a bit out, 30 love. A serve with a bit of depth to the centre from Casper Ruud. Casper Ruud with a wide serve with depth. Alexander Zverev forehand return, and Casper Ruud with forehand to right. Alexander Zverev forehand slice turn, and further forward, Casper Ruud strikes a forehand to the right, and Alexander Zverev with forehand return, and Casper Ruud at the net of a shot, and then Alexander Zverev with a backhand lob, but then an overhead smash to the right at the net from Casper Ruud, and it's a winner. 40 love. Backhand volley to the left at the net from Casper Ruud. Alexander Zverev a backhand lob return, but then the next shot, Casper Ruud with an overhead smash to the right for a winner. 40 love. Casper Ruud with a wide serve. Alexander Zverev backhand slice, Casper Ruud. And then Alexander Zverev strikes a forehand to the left, and it's a winner. 40-15. Casper Ruud with a serve to centre depth. Alexander Zverev backhand return and backhand slice to backhand slice. And Casper Ruud with a forehand to left, and then Alexander Zverev backhand to right, backhand slice Casper Ruud. And then forehand struck to the left again by Alexander Zverev, and again strikes a winner with it. 40-30. Casper Ruud with a serve to the centre with depth, and Alexander Zverev with forehand return. A bit out. And so Zverev just asking for a replay after and the serve is in, just in the serve. So still on serve in the first set at 3-2 Casper Ruud. Alexander Zverev service game on serve in the first set. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve with Depth. Casper Ruud with forehand block return with Depth, and Alexander Zverev returns, and Casper Ruud to the net with backhand volley, but can't get the ball much further. 15-love. Alexander Zverev with a serve to the centre with Depth, from Casper Ruud with a forehand block return, just hits the net, so 30-love. Points won on serve at this point in the match: 11 out of 14 for Alexander Zverev and 12 out of 14 for Casper Ruud. Alexander Zverev with a serve to the centre, just hits the net, so second serve on this point. Alexander Zverev with a serve to the centre. Casper Ruud returns, and then forehand to forehand, and Casper Ruud's forehand to left is just out, so 40-love. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve, and Casper Ruud backhand return, and Alexander Zverev strikes forehand to the left with Depth from Casper Ruud with a backhand slice return and forehand to forehand of 2 shots each, and Casper Ruud's second forehand to the left is a bit out, so 3-3 on serve in the first set. Casper Ruud service game. Casper Ruud with a wide serve. Alexander Zverev forehand return. Casper Ruud with a backhand to backhand of 2 shots each. Then a backhand slice from Casper Ruud and Alexander Zverev for forehand, and then backhand to backhand. And Alexander Zverev's backhand is struck to the right with Depth, and Casper Ruud with a forehand slice return, but a bit out. Love 15, backhand struck to the right with Depth. On the last Alexander Zverev shot in that point with a backhand struck to the right. Casper Ruud with a serve to the centre, and Alexander Zverev forehand return to the centre with Depth, and Casper Ruud with forehand to the centre. And Alexander Zverev strikes a backhand to the right with Depth, and Casper Ruud returns Alexander Zverev to the net with backhand volley. And Casper Ruud is onto it further forward and hits a forehand passing shot to the right, and it's a winner. 15-0. Alexander Zverev with a backhand volley to the right, but Casper Ruud onto it and hit a forehand passing shot winner to the right. 15-0. Casper Ruud with a serve to the centre just out, so second serve on this point. Casper Ruud just won a point, so 30-15. On this Casper Ruud service game, 3-3 on serve in the first set. Casper Ruud with a centres of the box serve, and then Alexander Zverev returns, then forehand to forehand, and a forehand slice shot from Casper Ruud, and Alexander Zverev strikes a forehand to the left with depth, and Casper Ruud returns it, but then Alexander Zverev to the net with a forehand volley to the right, and it's a winner. 30-all. Alexander Zverev struck a forehand to the left with depth. Casper Ruud with a backhand slice return, but Alexander Zverev finished the point at the net for a forehand volley winner to the right. So 30-all on this Casper Ruud service game. Casper Ruud with a wide serve. Alexander Zverev forehand return to the centre, just out. So 40-30. Casper Ruud with a serve centre of the box. And Alexander Zverev's backhand return to the left is just out. So still on serve in the first set at 4-3 Casper Ruud. Alexander Zverev service game on serve in the first set. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve, hits the top of the net and a bit out after that. So second serve on this point. Alexander Zverev with a serve to the centre and then forehand to forehand. And Casper Ruud with another forehand. Alexander Zverev with another forehand. Forehand to forehand of 3 shots each. And then backhand Casper Ruud, and Alexander Zverev strikes a forehand to the left, but just out. So love 15. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve, and it's an ace. 15-all. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve and another ace. 30-15. 2 aces on the last 2 points for Alexander Zverev, both with wide serves, one to the right, one to the left. 30-15. Alexander Zverev with a central serve just out. So second serve on this point. Alexander Zverev with a centre of the box serve. Casper Ruud backhand return with depth, and then forehand to forehand. And backhand Alexander Zverev with depth, forehand Casper Ruud, and then further forward Alexander Zverev strikes a backhand to the right. Casper Ruud backhand return volley. Alexander Zverev for forehand, and Casper Ruud returns. But then Alexander Zverev with a forehand drop volley to the left, and it's a winner. 40-15. Alexander Zverev with a centre of the box serve, just hits the net. So second serve on this point. Alexander Zverev with a central serve hits the net. So two serves missed. So 40-30. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve, and it's an ace. 3 aces with wide serves in that game for Alexander Zverev. 4-all on serve in the first set. Casper Ruud service game on serve in the first set. Casper Ruud the central serve, and it's an ace. 15-love. That may be the first ace for Casper Ruud in this match. Yep, first ace of the match for Casper Ruud. 4 for Alexander Zverev at this point in the match. Casper Ruud rather with a serve to the centre with depth, and Alexander Zverev with a bit of a forehand return but can't get the ball much further. 30-love. Central serve with depth on that point from Casper Ruud. Casper Ruud with a wide serve, and Alexander Zverev forehand return. Casper Ruud strikes a backhand to the left with depth, and Alexander Zverev with backhand shot return to the left, just out. 40-love. Casper Ruud with a wide serve. Alexander Zverev backhand return, a backhand half volley. Drop to the right by Casper Ruud at the net, and it's a winner. To win that service game, so still on serve in the first set at 5-4 Casper Ruud. So Alexander Zverev service game on serve in the first set. Alexander Zverev with a serve to the centre, just out. So second serve on this point. Alexander Zverev. They serve centre of the box and then backhand to backhand. Casper Ruud backhand slice after that, and backhand Alexander Zverev to the left just hits the net. So love 15. Alexander Zverev with a central serve, and then Casper Ruud forehand return, but then Alexander Zverev strikes a forehand to left with depth from Casper Ruud with return with depth, and then an overhead smash with depth from Alexander Zverev. Casper Ruud returns, and a forehand struck to the right, further forward from Alexander Zverev, and Alexander Zverev further forward by the net, and Casper Ruud with a forehand shot after that just hits the net. So 15-all. Alexander Zverev with a serve to the centre, just out. So second serve on this point. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve. Casper Ruud forehand return with depth to the right, and Alexander Zverev with backhand to left, backhand to backhand. And Alexander Zverev with forehand return. And then a bit further forward, Casper Ruud with a forehand struck to the left, and it's a winner. 15-30. And some ball striking from the first shot on return, a serve on that point from Casper Ruud, and finished it with a forehand winner struck to the left. 15-30. Alexander Zverev with a serve to the centre of the box with depth, and Casper Ruud with a backhand block return. Can't get the ball much further. 30-all. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve just hits the net. So second serve on this point. Alexander Zverev with a serve centre of the box. Casper Ruud backhand return, backhand to backhand. Forehand to forehand. Of two shots each, and Alexander Zverev's net. Casper Ruud backhand return, then a forehand to the right after that. At the net by Alexander Zverev to the right with depth from Casper Ruud with a bit of forehand on it. Can't get the ball much further. 40-30. Alexander Zverev, the wide serve with depth, and Casper Ruud with a bit of backhand on it. Can't get the ball much further. On serve at 5-all in the first set. Casper Ruud service game. Casper Ruud, the central serve, and it's an ace. Second ace in the match for Casper Ruud on that point. 15-love. Casper Ruud with a central serve. Then Alexander Zverev, forehand return, forehand drop shot to the right by Casper Ruud, and Alexander Zverev onto it for backhand slice shot to the left, but out. 30-love. Casper Ruud with a central serve, and then backhand return Alexander Zverev, and then forehand to forehand, and a second forehand from Casper Ruud just after that to the left is just out. So 30-15. Casper Ruud with a central serve and then forehand to forehand, and Casper Ruud's forehand to the left is a bit out, so 30-all. Casper Ruud with a wide serve with depth. Alexander Zverev forehand short return. Then third for Casper Ruud with forehand to the left. And Casper Ruud at the net. And Alexander Zverev with a forehand to the right just hits the net. So 40-30. Casper Ruud with a wide serve just hits the net. So second serve on this point. Casper Ruud with a wide serve and Casper Ruud to net with Alexander Zverev backhand turn, backhand volley from Casper Ruud to the left, and then Alexander Zverev a forehand lob to the left, just out. So on serve in the first set at 6-5 Casper Ruud. Alexander Zverev Alexander Zverev service game. On serve in the first set, Alexander Zverev was served to the centre, just out. So second serve on this point. Alexander Zverev with a serve centre to the box. Casper Ruud backhand return. Alexander Zverev strikes a backhand to the left, and it's a winner. 15-love. Alexander Zverev with a serve centre to the box. Casper Ruud with a return. And then Alexander Zverev, a forehand shot to the left, and Casper Ruud returns. And Alexander Zverev, a forehand drive volley to the right. And Casper Ruud with a backhand shot return, but hits the net a bit. So 30-love. Points won on serve in this match. 24 out of 30 for Casper Ruud and 23 out of 30 for Alexander Zverev at this point in the match. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve, and it's an ace. So 40-love. Fifth ace of the match for Alexander Zverev, 2 for Casper Ruud. Alexander Zverev with a serve to the centre attack. Casper Ruud forehand block return and third forward. Alexander Zverev with a forehand to the left, and then Casper Ruud with a forehand shot to the left, just hits the net. So first set tie break. First set, an on-serve first set into a tie break in the first set. Casper Ruud with the serve in the first point in this first set tie break. Casper Ruud with a wide serve, just hits the net. So second serve on this point. Casper Ruud with a wide serve and then forehand to forehand. Alexander Zverev backhand, and Casper Ruud strikes a forehand to left and then backhand to backhand. Alexander Zverev strikes a forehand to the right and backhand slice return from Casper Ruud to the left is just out. So Alexander Zverev with a point on return of serve at the start of the tie break in the first set. So 1-love Alexander Zverev in the tie break. Alexander Zverev with a central serve with depth. Casper Ruud with a forehand block return and third forward. Alexander Zverev forehand to right. Casper Ruud returns and a backhand volley from Alexander Zverev at net. Casper Ruud returns, but then Alexander Zverev with a forehand volley to the right. After that with depth from Casper Ruud with a bit of backhand racket on it. Can't get it much further. So 2-love Alexander Zverev in the tie break in this first set. 2-love lead in the tie break for Alexander Zverev. Serving the next point. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve with depth. Casper Ruud forehand block return, and Alexander Zverev with a forehand to the left with a bit of depth from Casper Ruud with a forehand return to the right, just hits the net. So 3-love lead for Alexander Zverev in the first set tie break. Casper Ruud serving the next 2 points. 3-love Alexander Zverev in the tie break. Casper Ruud with a central serve with depth, and Alexander Zverev's forehand return to the centre is out. So 3-1 Alexander Zverev in this first set tie break. Casper Ruud with a wide serve just hits the net. So second serve on this point. Casper Ruud with a wide serve and then forehand of 2 shots each. 3 shots each, forehand to forehand. 4. And then Alexander Zverev with a 5th forehand, backhand slice Casper Ruud, forehand Alexander Zverev, and then backhand to backhand. Backhand slice Casper Ruud. Then Alexander Zverev strikes a forehand to the left, and Casper Ruud with a slice shot return. Alexander Zverev to the net with a forehand drive volley to the right, and Casper Ruud returns. But then Alexander Zverev with a volley shot to the left hits a winner. So 4-1, Alexander Zverev in the tie break in the first set. Forehand drive volley to the right out net from Alexander Zverev. Casper Ruud with return. But then on the next shot from Alexander Zverev, a backhand volley to the left. Hit a winner with that shot after a 20-shot rally. So 4-1 lead for Alexander Zverev in the tie break in the first set. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve just hits the net. So second serve on this point. Alexander Zverev with a serve to the centre, and it's an ace. So 5-1. 5-1 lead in the tiebreak for Alexander Zverev. Alexander Zverev with a central serve, and it's an ace. 2 aces on the last 2 points for Alexander Zverev with central serves, and it's 6-1 lead for Alexander Zverev in the tiebreak in the first set. And with 5 set points for a 1-set-to-love lead potentially in this match. Casper Ruud with a wide serve just out, so second serve on this point. Casper Ruud with a centre of the box serve and then forehand to forehand. Alexander Zverev forehand and then backhand to backhand of 2 shots each, and then Casper Ruud forehand. Then Alexander Zverev backhand slice Casper Ruud. Forehand struck to left by Alexander Zverev, backhand slice return from Casper Ruud to the right. And then backhand Alexander Zverev, backhand slice Casper Ruud, backhand Alexander Zverev, backhand to backhand. And then Alexander Zverev strikes a backhand to the right, but just hits the net. So 6-2 lead for Alexander Zverev in the tiebreak in the first set. 4 more set points. Casper Ruud with a centre of the box serve. Alexander Zverev returns. And then backhand to backhand. And then forehand to forehand. And Alexander Zverev's forehand to the right is just out. So 6-3 Alexander Zverev with 3 more set points. And 2 serves for Alexander Zverev with 3 set points. Alexander Zverev. Very wide serve there. Casper Ruud backhand block return and further forward. Alexander Zverev strikes a forehand to the right, and it's a winner. And that's game and first set. Alexander Zverev 7-6. Alexander Zverev with a first set in a tie break. So second set, Alexander Zverev for the first service game in the second set, and Alexander Zverev just won a point, serving an ace to the centre on the first point of the second set, 15-love. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve just out, so second serve on this point. Alexander Zverev with a serve sent to the box, and Casper Ruud strikes for return. And Alexander Zverev backhand to left. Casper Ruud returns, but Alexander Zverev strikes a forehand winner to the right, 30-love. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve with depth, and Casper Ruud with a forehand slice return just out, so 40-love. Alexander Zverev with a central serve depth, Casper Ruud forehand block return and further forward. Alexander Zverev forehand slice shot to the right just by net, and Casper Ruud returns it to the left, but just out. So on serve in the second set at one of Alexander Zverev. Casper Ruud service game, and Alexander Zverev just won a point, so love 15 on this Casper Ruud service game. Casper Ruud with a serve to the centre of the box just out, so second serve on this point. Casper Ruud with a serve sent to the box and then backhand to backhand. And then Alexander Zverev with a second backhand to left just out. Just out rather, so 15-all. Casper Ruud just won a point, so 30-15 on this Casper Ruud service game. Casper Ruud with a serve to the centre just out, so second serve on this point. Casper Ruud with a wide serve. And it's an ace. So 40-15. Casper Ruud with a serve to the centre of depth. Alexander Zverev backhand return. And then just by the net, Casper Ruud strikes a forehand to the right and it's a winner. So on serve in the second set at 1-1. Alexander Zverev service game. 1-1 on serve in the second set. Alexander Zverev with a serve to the centre with depth, and Casper Ruud with a bit of backhand on it, but can't get it much further. 15-love. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve, and Casper Ruud with a short angle backhand return, and Alexander Zverev a backhand slice return just hits the net. So 15-all. Casper Ruud with a backhand short angle return off an Alexander Zverev serve, and Casper Ruud to net, and Alexander Zverev a backhand slice return just hits the net. So 15-all. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve with depth, Casper Ruud forehand block return. Then backhand Alexander Zverev, backhand slice Casper Ruud, forehand Alexander Zverev, backhand Casper Ruud. Then forehand struck to the right with depth from Alexander Zverev, and Casper Ruud with a forehand return a bit out. So 30-15. Forehand struck to the right with depth on Alexander Zverev's last shot on that point. So 30-15. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve with depth. Casper Ruud, backhand block return. Alexander Zverev to net with a backhand short slice to the left, and Casper Ruud onto it with a backhand slice to the right, just out. So 40-15. Well, backhand drop shot to the left from Alexander Zverev. Casper Ruud onto it with a backhand slice to the right. And Alexander Zverev, a backhand volley after that, a bit out. So 30-all. 30-all, actually. So 30-all on this Alexander Zverev service game. 1-all on serve in the second set. Alexander Zverev with a serve to the centre of the box with depth, and Casper Ruud with backhand block return to the right, a bit out, so 40-30 after a serve with depth from Alexander Zverev on that point. Alexander Zverev, the central serve with depth, and Casper Ruud returns, then forehand to forehand. And then Alexander Zverev, a forehand slice shot to the right, Casper Ruud onto it, and Alexander Zverev a forehand to the left, and then Casper Ruud with backhand lob return. Alexander Zverev further forward with an overhead smash, and Casper Ruud returns. The forehand drive volley to the left further forward from Alexander Zverev. Casper Ruud returns with a backhand lob shot, and then Alexander Zverev with an overhead smash to the right, and it's a winner. So on serve in the second set at 2-1 Alexander Zverev. So still on serve in the first set. 2-2 on serve in the second set, Alexander Zverev service game, 40-15. Alexander Zverev with a central serve with depth from Casper Ruud with a bit of backhand on it. Can't get the ball much further. So on serve still in the second set at 3-2, Alexander Zverev. So on serve in the second set, Casper Ruud service game on serve at 3-2, Alexander Zverev in the second set. Casper Ruud with a wide serve, Alexander Zverev forehand return. Casper Ruud just by the net, strikes a backhand to the right, and it's a winner. 15-love. Casper Ruud with a centre of the box serve, and Alexander Zverev with a backhand return just hits the net. So 30-love. Casper Ruud with a wide serve, and then Alexander Zverev with a forehand return to the right, just out. So 40-love. Casper Ruud with a wide serve, just hits the net. So second serve on this point. Casper Ruud with a central serve, and Alexander Zverev strikes forehand return with depth, and Casper Ruud with forehand slice turn. Alexander Zverev the shot with depth to the left, and then to the net after, and Casper Ruud return with a volley to the left, and Casper Ruud onto it with a lob shot return, but then Alexander Zverev with an overhead smash to the right, and it's a winner. So 40-15. Casper Ruud with a backhand slice turn, Alexander Zverev with forehand volley, Casper Ruud with backhand lob return, and then an overhead smash from Alexander Zverev to the right by the net to finish the point. So 40-15. Casper Ruud with a central serve. Alexander Zverev's backhand return is just out, so on serve in the second set at 3-3. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve, just hits the net. So second serve for Alexander Zverev on this point. Alexander Zverev with a centre of the box serve. Casper Ruud backhand return. Alexander Zverev for forehand. And Casper Ruud's forehand to the centre is just out, so 15 love. Alexander Zverev with a central serve just out, so second serve on this point. Alexander Zverev, the centre of the box serve, and then backhand to backhand. Second backhand Casper Ruud, and then forehand to forehand. And the second forehand struck left with depth from Alexander Zverev. Casper Ruud with backhand side seven, further forward. Alexander Zverev for forehand. Casper Ruud returns, and then a backhand volley to the right with depth just by net from Alexander Zverev, and Casper Ruud with a bit of forehand shot. Can't get it much further. 30 love. Well, Casper Ruud backhand side turn, and then Alexander Zverev with forehand struck to the left with depth, and then forward to the net. And after a Casper Ruud return, Alexander Zverev with a backhand volley to the right just by the net with depth. So 30 love. Alexander Zverev with a central serve with depth, and Casper Ruud with a backhand return to the right, a bit out. So 40 love. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve with depth. Casper Ruud returns, and Alexander Zverev forehand shot to right, a bit of depth. Casper Ruud with forehand return. And then Alexander Zverev with forehand shot to the left, just out. So 40-15. Alexander Zverev with a central serve, and it's an ace. So 4-3, Alexander Zverev on serve in the second set. So Casper Ruud service game. 4-3, Alexander Zverev on serve in the second set. Casper Ruud with a serve centre box. Backhand Alexander Zverev, backhand slice Casper Ruud, forehand Alexander Zverev, another backhand slice Casper Ruud. And then Alexander Zverev strikes a forehand to the right, and it's a winner. Love 15. Casper Ruud with a serve to the centre of depth. Alexander Zverev fine return, and third forward Casper Ruud with a forehand drive volley to the left, just by the net, but it's just out. So love 30. Casper Ruud with a serve to the centre, just out. So second serve on this point. Casper Ruud with a wide serve and then forehand to forehand. Second forehand Alexander Zverev, then backhand return Casper Ruud, and then forehand Alexander Zverev, and Casper Ruud with backhand and backhand struck to the right by Alexander Zverev. Casper Ruud returns and forehand struck to the left from Alexander Zverev, just out. So 15-30. Casper Ruud with a central serve and then forehand. Casper Ruud with a forehand struck to the right, and Alexander Zverev with a forehand return. And then Casper Ruud strikes another forehand to the right, but just out, and it's 15-40 and 2 break points for Alexander Zverev. 15-40. Two break points. Casper Ruud, the wide serve, Alexander Zverev forehand return, then Casper Ruud strikes forehand to left, and Alexander Zverev for backhand return, and then forehand to forehand. And then a second forehand to the right from Casper Ruud is just out, and Alexander Zverev leads the second set with a breaker serve. So Alexander Zverev, with the first breaker serve of the match, leads the second set with a breaker serve at 5-3, Alexander Zverev. So Alexander Zverev leads by a set and a break at this point of the match. Alexander Zverev service game. Alexander Zverev with a central serve, and it's an ace. 15-love. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve with depth. Casper Ruud with a backhand block return to the left, just out. So 30-love. After a serve with depth, wide serve with depth to the right on that point from Alexander Zverev. 30-love. Alexander Zverev with a wide serve with depth. Casper Ruud forehand block return, and Alexander Zverev with forehand to the left with depth from Casper Ruud with return. Alexander Zverev with forehand to the right, and then to the net, and Casper Ruud with a backhand passing shot to the left, just out. So 40-love and 3 match points for Alexander Zverev. Three match points for Alexander Zverev. Alexander Zverev with a central serve with depth from Casper Ruud. Forehand. Block shot return to left is just out. Game, set and match. Alexander Zverev by 2 sets to love. 7-6, 6-3. And Alexander Zverev may be on for the semi-finals of the ATP finals after winning this match by 2 sets to love. 2 matches won for Alexander Zverev in the group round of the tournament. 2 wins out of 2 and 2 sets to love 2 sets to love wins rather for Alexander Zverev in the group round of the ATP finals.